remind our viewers, there was a time in India when we were importing crude, which is the raw material for petrol and diesel and LPG. We were importing crude at $100 and sometimes $120 per barrel. At that point, we were paying as citizens 68 rupees per litre of petrol. Now from $100 a barrel, it has come down to $46 a barrel, and we are still paying over 70 rupees per litre of petrol. The difference is completely taxes. It's state and central excise duty. Why is it that the government of India is not passing on these benefits to us as Indians? Why does the government continue to tax us in this completely unreasonable manner? Where is the justification? Is it time for the government of India to pass on this benefit of lower crude oil prices to us as customers who buy petrol, LPG and diesel? Remember, fuel has a cascading effect on our food. Everything that comes into our cities, fruits, vegetables, milk, comes in on trucks. The price of your food is dependent on the price of fuel. The government is, by keeping our fuel prices completely artificially high, is keeping our food prices high as well. That's the question we are asking this evening. Should the government be reducing the price of fuel? Joining me on the show this evening, Gopal Agarwal. H Daruwala is the Indian Petrol Dealers Association spokesperson. Ravi Srivastava is an ex-employee, a senior manager at HPCL. He's also one of the founding members of the Aam Aadmi Party. Jyoti Parikh is the executive director at the Integrated Research and Action for Development. Bejon Mishra is a consumer rights activist. Akash Jindal is an economist. And Sujay Kantawala is a citizen voice. Sujay Kantawala is my citizen. Sujay Kantawala, I'm going to come to you first. As my citizen voice, the price of crude today is $46 a barrel. In the city of Mumbai, petrol is 75 rupees, Delhi 64 rupees, Bangalore 68 rupees, Kolkata 67 rupees, Chennai 67 rupees. We're paying a large amount of tax and we still don't know why, Sujay.
Yeah, actually, as a citizen and as a consumer, I'm using my car. I'm kind of using diesel and petrol cars. To just give an example, and I'm really, I have no choice but to fill petrol and diesel every day. So when I see, when I travel, when I go abroad and when I go to other countries, when I see that the prices are much less than my country, and when I see that we are a huge importing nation, and when the price has been consistently low over the world, I definitely would ask questions that and hope as to why the price is remaining the same. As you rightly said, that when we were importing at 100 plus, when the Brent was 100 plus, and now today it is around 45, why we are still in fact paying the same price? So definitely as a citizen, and I'm sure that all of us who are consumers all over the country are definitely looking at the government for maybe possibly giving us a reason. I mean, at least coming and explaining as to how and on what basis this is happening. There must be some logic to it, because I don't see, at least I don't see from this side any logic to that. So if there's an explanation coming, it would definitely be welcome.
At least offer us an explanation. I want to bring in Bejon Mishra. Bejon Mishra, consumer rights activist. This is completely unexplained. Most of the economists across the world are expecting crude to stay low, which means that this sort of comfort level for the government will continue to exist. Where are our lower fuel prices? Why is the government continuing to fleece us?
Yeah, let me start from there. You know, what is the excuse? You know, what the government is taking. Government finds fuel as one of the best product which would enable government to raise a lot of resource in terms of profitability and taxes and other, other benefits which they are getting from it. So it's like a good milking cow which is there at the cost of the nation and the consumer. So the government finds it extremely easy to handle this monopolistic kind of a activity, because none of these oil trading companies or oil producers in our country are in the private sector, and some of them who are in the private sector, they have been scuttled, they have not been allowed to compete, and there is no level playing field. So what is happening is, at the end of the day, we don't have a good regulator, we don't have a good policy on fuel, because you see, fuel is the lifeline of the country. All prices, any product which is manufactured, sold, is dependent on fuel prices. And if the fuel prices are high, naturally all the escalating effect will take place, and consumer will always land up paying a much higher price than they deserve to pay on all products across, whether it's transportation, whether it is to do with any product, at the end of the day, because every product has to have a movement to reach it from the factory to the consumer's plate. So what I feel is that there is a lack of policy, there is a lack of transparency, there is a lack of accountability, and our parliamentarians who are so-called in the opposition have no knowledge, or they don't even have time to look at these issues and raise these issues in a intellectual manner to debate in the parliament, because they've got all the time to do all kinds of rubbish things other than what is required for the country's interest and consumers' interest. So India has got no priority
Akash
for the
Jindal.
consumer. India has no priority for the nation. So they can keep on fleecing the consumer even when the barrel prices goes down. The prices of petroleum products in India has never seen, and they have talked about a dynamic.
I want to bring in
pricing.
Akash Jindal. Akash Jindal is an economist. Akash Jindal. What happens, explain to my viewers tonight, what happens when fuel prices are kept high in this unnatural fashion? What happens to prices across the country?
Yeah. First, let me explain how we decide the petrol and diesel prices. Of course, 80% of crude has to be imported. So firstly, we have to take in account the international market crude oil prices, then the dollar prices, because we have to pay majorly in dollar. Then we have to add the refiner's charges. It has to be refined. Then the transportation cost to the petrol pump, then the petrol dealer's margin. Up to this level, everything is okay. After that, the main issue is the taxes. Firstly, the central excise, which the central government is charging, then the VAT, which the state governments. Now, when you talk about consumers, the main impact is diesel. See, if you talk about Indian consumer or Indian common man, diesel is much more important even than oxygen for any Indian common man. Any inputs which we consume, whether it's vegetables, milk, or fruits, anything and everything which we consume has to travel on diesel. And then if we talk about petrol, the most important commodity, human beings, we have to travel on petrol. So inflation for common man becomes high. Now, it doesn't stop with inflation. If inflation is high, interest rates have to be kept high. Interest rates can't be reduced. So the EMI which you and me pay is higher. Then what happens is inflation is something which directly eats into GDP growth. Simplifying it, high inflation means lesser salary increase for everybody watching TV. Now, lesser salary increase, lesser consumer power, lesser consumption, lesser buying, and ultimately the country not growing the way it should be. Of course, now the issue is how could the central government and state government, can they resist the temptation of having more money through taxes? Now, this current government, let me inform you, has increased substantially the excise on petrol and diesel. This government has been plainly lucky, because when they came into power, just after 1 month of them coming to power, Brent was as high as $115 per barrel. Now let me update your viewers. Last year, Brent nosedived to $26 per barrel. Now it's around $46 per barrel. And the way China's GDP growth is lesser, the way Brazil GDP growth has gone into minus, Eurozone GDP growth is less than 1% for majorly all the countries, US is producing, Iran is producing, Brent is going to stay at a lesser level. Now what we have done is, instead of pricing it every 15 days, we have started doing it every single day. Now what happens is, we do get some benefit, transparency increases, volatility reduces, but what can get us the benefit is,
where is it?
Simply the government has to reduce taxes. The governments have to reduce taxes, and they have many other ways. I can suggest you 20 other ways, and I can give you the entire calculation how the central government and state governments can make up for much more collections if they do it, because this would directly benefit the common man, and the central government and the state governments, both of them need to do it. Just because it's something which we have to consume, we can't stay without that, and it's a convenient way, let me put it that way, for the central government and the state governments to make money. That's why, I mean, we are being taxed that way. So the governments have to
Let me begin. Gopal Agarwal, national spokesperson of the BJP. Right. Akash Jindal, Gopal Agarwal joins me right now. He's the national spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Agarwal, here's the very simple question. Crude, which was priced at $115 per barrel when in 2014 came down to $26. It is now $46. The price of crude has come down by over 50%, but the price of petrol has gone up. We continue to pay higher and higher amounts for petrol and diesel. We have an economist who's just explained to us that this will result in higher food prices, higher interest rates on our home loans, lower salaries for all of us. Why is it that the government is continuing to squeeze the middle class? Why don't you pass on this benefit and reduce the money you're charging us in excise duty on petrol?
But I would like to ask one thing is, then when we came to power, the inflation was in double digit. Now the inflation is around 2.18. So how they are saying that the prices of petrol will increase the inflation? Ultimately, there is a reasonable amount of inflation which is needed for the economy to move ahead. So government is well controlling the inflation
You're
price.
not answering
we are
my
focusing
question.
on essential items.
Why is it that we have to continue to pay 70 rupees? Why are you
inflation? Do you want to say that? Mr. Agarwal, do you want to say that?
Yes, just wait. I listen to you patiently. Have patience to listen to me. Have patience. I am telling you, you can speak when I finish. The question is, we are keeping the inflation under check. The economic policy is not dependent on isolated factors. Economic policy or fiscal policy of the government depends on multiplicity of factors. We have to look after the catalyzation of the economy. We have to look into foreign exchange reserves. We have to look into import and export issues. We have to look into fiscal deficit also, current account deficit also. Government need resources for generate resources for social security schemes also. Government need fund for investment. The government wants to create infrastructure. We want to create roads. We are creating a road of 131 kilometers per day, which was only 30 kilometers earlier.
So you not happening.
So what you are saying is that all the resource mobilization, all the money which the government needs has to be taken from petrol and diesel. That's what my point was, Mr. Agarwal. It's a convenient. Is it a convenient way for the governments to make money? And again, if you talk about economy, GDP growth has come down to as low as 6%. IIP has nosedived again. So
Okay, gentlemen, one at a time. Gentlemen. One second. Gentlemen, one at a time, please. One at a time. Everybody, just calm down. One by one.
Money for everything.
Right. One by one. I want to bring in a couple of voices who haven't spoken up till now. Ravi Srivastava. Okay. Gopal Agarwal, finish making your point. 1 second.
Mr. Agarwal, can I speak now, please? Mr. Agarwal, please.
1 second. Let Mr. Agarwal finish making his points, and then I'll come back to the rest to rebut him. Let him finish.
Need resources. Yeah. So yes, the government requires resources. It has to see whichever is the easiest way available. Government takes resources from that way. Otherwise, we will have to increase the taxes. We want to reduce taxes in GST through indirect tax. We want to bring down the taxation over a period of time. Direct taxes also. We want to streamline. We want resources to invest for housing, for roads, for irrigation. There are several issues government need to spend on those issues. So whatever the best possible resource available at present, cheapest available is from petroleum, government is taking it. If the prices of petroleum will increase in the international market, we will not increase. That's the policy. Ultimately, we want to maintain a fiscal deficit of 3.5.
Okay, Gopal Agarwal, I've given you your 2 minutes. Gopal Agarwal, I've given you your 2 minutes. Now let's rebut the points that you have made. Gopal Agarwal, I've given you your 2 minutes. Let's rebut. Gopal Agarwal, here are your points. You said, first of all, the government is trying to reduce the cost. The government is trying to reduce taxes under GST. We know very clearly that the government's aim under GST is to keep the tax in best case scenario same as it is right now and not reduce it. You're increasing efficiency, you're not reducing taxes. And to bring straight to your point, this is not the easiest way to increase revenue for the government. I'll tell you what the easiest way is. Swiss bank accounts where money is being taken out of the country. Listen to me. Swiss bank accounts where money is being taken out of the country without paying taxes. That's an easy way to increase revenue for the country. Rich people who make crores and crores of rupees every year but don't pay any tax because they declare themselves as farmers. That's an easy way for the government to increase its revenue. To actually tax petrol and diesel is to squeeze every last living drop out of the middle class. And you might think it is easy for you, but it is not easy for us. However, Ravi Srivastava, ex-senior manager at HPCL, also founding member of the Aam Aadmi Party. Ravi Srivastava, go ahead.
Faye, I just want to tell Mr. Gopal Agarwal that what he is talking is all lousy logics. First of all, let me congratulate Mirror Now channel who has been relentlessly fighting for this petroleum price increase. They are doing an urban effort and they are doing it. Now let me tell you that crude oil, which is 80%, constitutes 80% of India's import, and if the price has fallen to so low as $45 for Brent and 43 for the NYMEX, government has got no reason to recover excise to the extent of rupees 21 per litre on petrol and rupees 17 on diesel. This is killing the people. And over and above, everyone in the state government, they are charging 28% VAT on that. The cost of diesel or petrol is 28 rupees a litre when it comes out of the refinery. And you are selling it for 75 rupees petrol and 62 rupees diesel. How far it is justified? And the demand is inelastic. The consumption has gone up by 4 to 5% from the previous fiscal. The government is finding it a very easy way of squeezing the last blood of the Aam Aadmi of this country. We will not sit quiet on this. We will continue to fight for this, that this price has to be brought down. And there is no logic, there is no reason behind it. The government is deliberately, purposely squeezing the people, and states are also enjoying at the cost of the common man. This is totally unfair and it has to be brought down in any case. In June 2008, the crude oil price was $147, highest in the history. And even that time the petrol was sold for 52 rupees a litre. What logic government has got today at $45 per barrel and 75 rupees petrol? They are doing it.
Okay.
They are
let me bring Akash Jindal back. Akash Jindal, I have this question for you. Please answer what Gopal Krishna rightfully pointed out. He said inflation is at 2.18%, which is the lowest it has been in a very, very long time. The government has managed to keep inflation low. Why don't you see that as a good point as far as this argument is concerned?
No, I can't see it as a good point because just for 1 month the inflation is low. Otherwise, you see other parameters also. GDP growth, it has fallen down, which my dear friend Gopal Agarwal knows, to 6.1%. IIP, Index of Industrial Production, has also fallen down. The government itself is not comfortable with employment numbers. One more thing which my dear friend has to answer. Now, he is saying that the government needs money to build roads. The government needs money for infrastructure, for many other things. That's why they have increased. Now, when they came to power, that time they knew they have to build roads, infrastructure. They had planned everything. At that time, nobody knew that crude oil prices were going to fall to $26 per barrel. Mr. Agarwal, would you please care to tell me, had the crude oil prices not fallen that way, where would have the money come? Could you just see it prior to coming to power that crude oil would come to this much lesser level and we'll increase excise to have money to build roads and all other things? What you mean to perhaps say is that had it not fallen to this level, roads wouldn't have been built, infrastructure wouldn't have been done, or the previous governments were not doing that? The only thing which you have yourself said that yes, it's a very easy way to mobilize money. Should the government look into easy option, or should the government look into those options which are good for the people's welfare? That is what we expect from you. You have been increasing excise, and now so what is happening is the GDP growth is getting impacted. Would you accept that the GDP growth has fallen to a level which nobody of us planned? IIP numbers are down. The government itself is not comfortable with the employment numbers. There are 20 other ways which I can explain live if I get time, wherein you can mobilize the resources to reduce the deficit. It is the most convenient way, and you have yourself admitted that it's an easy way. Should the government get into easy options? Please answer my simple question. Could you predict prior to coming to power that to build roads, to build infrastructure, this was your plan, that crude oil would fall and you will increase tax, and this is how the roads were going to be built, infrastructure is going to be built, because you promised us अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं, and now you are using the easiest option. I mean, is this what we expected from you, that you would look for easier options?
That's a fair question, Gopal Agarwal. Should the government be using the easiest option? Because this is a government that has repeatedly told us that you're a government that will make tough choices. All right, we seem to have lost that connection to Gopal Agarwal. Sujay Kantawala, the same question. I understand we have Ali Daruwala joining us right now. Ali Daruwala,
I just want to add one thing. Allow me to. I just want to add one thing.
Yes.
The petro pricing of the government is fraud.
Then let me,
not now, even right from the beginning they are doing it. They are just not. They are not transparent. They are totally opaque. What they are doing today, we are adjusting the price every day. Now, every day, how does it make any difference to a common man? Do you decide when you take out your car on the road that what will be the price of petrol today in the market? This is nothing but the nonsense. They want to have only opaque pricing. They don't want any transparency, and by this now they have started killing the dealers also of the oil companies, apart from the Aam Aadmi, apart from the consumer. They have started killing them also. Now this is very rightly said by one panelist.
Okay, all right. Ravi Srivastava, 1 second. Let me bring in Ali Daruwala. Ali Daruwala, spokesperson of the All India Petrol Dealers Association. Mr. Daruwala, here's my question. The government keeps telling us that daily pricing of fuel will increase transparency. My problem is that if actually the fuel that I'm buying costs about 30 rupees, but I'm paying 72 or 73 rupees for it, I want transparency on who's taking the money in, who's making that margin, and what are they using that margin for. Do you believe that we have more transparency now than we did last year?
Faye, coming on the daily pricing, DPC, our highest authority in the association is in consultation with the ministry. But as far as transparency is concerned, the government right now has taken the utmost advantage of the crude price falling. It is not wrong. It is in the privy of the government to put tax. Firstly, I would not like to debate with Mr. Srivastava, because he's been kind in saying that dealers are dying with this margin, with this daily price, which I'll agree with him. But coming to the price reduction, it has been observed by the price rise. Price rise has been incorporated for the various government infrastructures, like the road work they are doing. They're compensating the oil companies which are facing losses because of this speculative buying. 1/4 of the excise they are passing back to the state by way of 42%, and the fourth the thing which they are doing is they are giving the customers, they're passing on the price reduction to customers. Yes, they are passing on. Until last month, they have reduced the price of petrol to customers.
Ali, what are you talking about? Which country are you referring to?
No, Mr. Daruwala.
Ali, which country are you referring to?
They are just not.
When you say passing on the price deficit, the change to customers, are you talking about India? Because the price has come down 58%, and we've not seen a 58% drop in prices in the last 4 years. The price has come down 58% on the price of crude. Has it come down 58% on the price of petrol? Please, be honest, Ali, to the fact that you are representing an association of dealers right now across the country. Do you believe that this is fair behavior of any government?
Let me explain to you. 16 times when the price of crude came down, when the central government cut the
16 times
prices,
the price has come down about 50 paisa or 1 rupee. What is the cumulative reduction on those 16 times? Please tell me. It comes down 1 rupee, it goes up 2 rupees. It comes down 2 rupees, it goes up 1.5 rupees. The prices largely remain the same. Have we received a 58% drop in the price of fuel in the last 4 years, commensurate to the reduction of global prices of crude? Is my question to you.
Faye, this reduction which has come, the government has absorbed to an extent that this year they have not given any fiscal deficit. I'm not here as a spokesperson for the government. What I'm trying to explain to you is when the central government reduced the price, the state government has hiked the price. That is why the customers has not been able to take the benefit of the price reduction, Faye, over here.
But government.
I have a very important point.
That is what the spokesperson should come and say. Why are you saying
Sujay Kantawala, what happens to us as citizens? Sujay Kantawala, you pay taxes.
I am paying taxes.
You pay indirect taxes.
I am paying taxes, and I am actually the consumer who is paying the actual price. So whether you rob Peter, pay Paul, that philosophy, that doesn't impress me. I need petrol and diesel every day. All I'm asking is a simple question. Please give me reasons as to why the price of petrol and diesel is not coming down when the international price has come down. That is all I'm asking. And if you can't give me answers, then a couple of our panelists form an SIT and we'll suggest 10 ways to the government by which you can make people more happier and follow Kautilya's principle, tax the super rich and leave the poor, let the poor be happy. That's what basically we all want that.
Faye, I just want to ask one question to Mr. Gopal Agarwal, who is the BJP spokesperson here. I just want to know that government had decided the market determined price mechanism. The market will decide that what price will be applicable over there. Now, instead, it has become a minister determined price mechanism. The minister along with the Babu decides every morning that what rate petrol will be sold in the market. So all three OMCs, three oil marketing companies, they are selling at the same price. Then where is the competition?
Company that decides the
where
price.
is the competition?
Mr. Srivastava,
Where is the scope for reducing the price?
Okay, one second. Let me just go back to Akash Jindal. Akash Jindal, we've been offered several explanations, none of which are satisfactory. The fact that fiscal deficit is better, the fact that India has to make roads, the fact that India has to make irrigation, facilities for our farmers. I accept these are all things that need to be done by the country. Is this the best way or the easiest way for the government to raise funds to do the work that the government needs to do? And if it is, then should we just grin and put up with it?
I think a very interesting and pertinent point. One of my friends was saying that government needs money for all this much taxes should be there. I just want him to answer my question. I have studied all the countries. Please tell me, my dear friend, which country has that much tax ratio in petrol and diesel pricing? I have already explained. Yes, international crude oil prices, then of course dollar, then refining cost, then the transportation cost, then the dealer's margin. I can all add up all the arithmetic for you. Just tell me, my dear friend, you are supporting the government. Which country has that much tax ratio in comparison with the landed cost and the refining margin? Firstly, this question. Secondly, my friend is saying there is no deficit. I don't know how is he saying there is no deficit. We already have a high deficit and the government is trying to reduce. So the deficit is already there. We are
reduce.
The fiscal deficit is already there. We are fighting with that, and the fiscal deficit we have is higher than the accepted ideal global norms. So already we are into fiscal deficit. And also, please tell me, had the crude oil prices not fallen to this level, this is a God gift which we have got. Where would we have been? Where is the management of the government? Where is the efficiency of the government? We got a free gift. Still, our people are not able to enjoy the benefit of a free gift which the country has got with. And also, please tell me, where in the world can you find this much tax component in the petrol and diesel prices? Can you give me one example in any country of the world where this much ratio is there. Now, talking about building roads, talking about infrastructure, now there are many other ways to increase GDP growth. GDP growth could be increased very well to 9.5%. You could have higher domestic investment, capital investment cycle could be revived. Employment opportunities could have been revived. The sort of investments which we had planned are not able to be seen. So I don't think, is it the only way to build roads, to build infrastructure? And again, the high taxes which we are paying, just give me one example in the world where in any country that much taxes are being paid. Please, if you could answer my question, please.
Yes. Which other country has taxes to this component? Gurmeet Singh is on the phone line from Delhi. Gurmeet, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Madam, I would like to remind the panelists that when BJP government came into the power, Mr. Jaitley said that we won't touch anything for the crude prices. It will be remain as it is. But when the prices came down, luckily they changed the scenario and they tried to make good profit out of it without giving any reason or any channel or any person even objecting to it. How is that possible that we are paying such a high price and we are getting no benefit from the government? Why such thing? I want to ask Mr. Agarwal especially, what specific reasons they have got that such a high price all over the world, it is the highest price of every taxation, even GST. Why government is not considering the poor common man or even the middle class? Why they are thinking for few people and others are suffering? Can they give any answer to that? Please.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's an excellent point. I have Gopal Agarwal, who we lost midway because of a bad connection. Gopal Agarwal is on the phone line. Gopal Agarwal, we want an explanation, which is very obvious. Everyone calling us on the phone line right now is simply asking for an explanation. How can you say, and you said on the show, that the government promises not to increase the prices if crude prices go up, but doesn't matter how much crude prices come down, you will never pass on that benefit. Where is the explanation? And if you're telling me that it's for irrigation, it is for roads, it is for all of these other facilities, I want to know, what irrigation have you managed to increase? In the last 4 years, what is the level of irrigation we have increased? In which state have we increased it? At what price? And which pieces of farmland are getting water now that they were not getting water earlier? If you're telling me that you have improved the levels of irrigation, why are the farmers protesting and why are we having to give them farm loan waivers at this point in various states? If you're telling me that you have built roads, I want to know which roads you have built. We want accountability. You can no longer reach into our pockets and take out money without giving us accountability. Where is the irrigation? And if there is irrigation, why are the farmers protesting right now?
No, one thing I tell you that I gave you a definite figure that we are building 131 kilometers per day of the Gramin Sadak Yojana.
Sir, it's a wrong statistics.
No,
it's a wrong statistics, sir.
You listen, you have been giving very wrong figures.
Sir, it's a wrong statistics.
You are talking.
131 kilometers per day is a wrong statistics. I contest it, sir.
No. You can contest it.
I contest it. You prove it.
You have been giving wrong figures.
No, you prove my one figure wrong. I'll come back to you. You tell me.
I told the inflation figure is 3.5.
Mr. Agarwal, please give the correct figure. That 131 kilometers per day was never made in last 3 years. Can you show me?
It is the figure. No, I'm not.
No, hang on. Mr. Ravi Srivastava, I want to hear what Mr. Gopal Agarwal is saying. 1 second, Mr. Ravi Srivastava, let Mr. Agarwal finish his point. We want to hear his answer. Mr. Agarwal, I apologize. Please continue. Finish your answer.
One thing is that we are building 131 kilometers per day of Gramin Sadak Yojana. The other highways, national highways, we are constructing at the rate of more than 30 kilometers per day, which had fallen down to 11 kilometers per day. Then with regard to irrigation figures, the coverage of irrigation area, I don't know actually whatever is I think I am not very sure how much total coverage area has increased, but it is around around quite a substantial figure in coverage area in the irrigation in Madhya Pradesh and other places. The third thing, important thing is we are targeting to build low-cost housing. We are in the government is going for massive investment into various industries to cater, because the private investment is not coming up. The government wants to create demand in the economy. Therefore, government is going for massive investment into infrastructure. You see the number of projects which were installed in because of environmental clearance, because in the power sector now we have a surplus power. Why? Because so many projects which were just held up, which were not working, which were just a standstill, have been revitalized by the government in the power sector. At present, power is available in a surplus. There is a reform in the DISCOM sector. If you call on anything, there is the amount of supply in the defense sector was so dismal. Now, if you talk to any army man, there are sufficient supplies with regard to ammunition, with regard to various defense preparedness.
Okay, Mr. Agarwal, I'm rephrasing Akash Jindal's question to you. Akash Jindal's question to you earlier was, when the government took over in 2014, crude was at $115 a barrel. At that point, were you relying on crude coming down 58% to do all of these things that a government should do with or without crude price fluctuation? What was the government's plan at this point? To build roads, to create irrigation, to build defense? Had crude not fallen, had we not gotten this lucky, and this is just pure luck, it has nothing to do with us, had we not gotten this lucky, what was the plan? Where would the money have come from?
So I tell you, the economy policies or fiscal policies, monetary policies followed by the government depends upon the current situation. As Mr. Jindal himself said, there are several ways through which the government can increase its fiscal position, increase its revenue collection. We also know, being an economic student, I know there are several issues through which we can increase our tax collection. Therefore, the demonetization, then digital economy, we are trying to increase fiscal revenue collection through better compliance. Even GST is a means of better compliance, bringing the informal economy into formal economy so that the government gets a better revenue. Ultimately, we are not depending only on petroleum. This is the situation. Petroleum prices, by the grace of the international policies, by the grace of the common man, whatever may be the reason, the petroleum prices have fallen down, and we are taking benefit of that. What is
all right. Now let me invite the rebut, Akash Jindal. By the grace of God, we are running this country. Sheer luck is how we're running this country, because we got this massive boon. Crude prices came down. We continue to pay 78 rupees, 73 rupees for petrol. The government is now making a hefty margin, both state and central. And this is just luck. This is just grace of God. This is how we run our country. There was no plan, Akash Jindal. Apparently our fiscal monetary plans change day to day. I still want to know, where is the Swiss bank accounts money? Where is all that money that was supposed to come back into the country? Where is all the money that we were supposed to get from demonetization? Where is all that collection that we were going to make massive amounts of black money that were going to come back into the country and allow us to build this great country? We're now building it out of petrol prices. Akash Jindal.
Very right. A very interesting and very important point. Mr. Gopal Agarwal has still not answered the Swiss bank issue. Secondly, I asked Mr. Gopal Agarwal, my dear friend, a question. Could Gopalji tell me which country has this much tax ratio to the landed cost of petrol and diesel, and adding the refining and the dealer's margin and the transportation cost? Could he name one country where you have so much of taxes on petrol and diesels? Secondly, when we talk about this, the economy state, Mr. Gopal Agarwal said, I'm quoting wrong facts. My dear sir, GDP growth 6.1%. This is a fact which is known to everybody. GDP growth has slumped down. Please allow me to speak. I didn't interrupt Gopalji. Please allow me to speak. Let me put across the facts. IIP numbers are quite low. Your government itself is unhappy with the employment numbers. So economy is not in a very good condition after 3 years. I have a lot of respect for your Prime Minister and your party. Your Prime Minister is determined for the country. I know that. I respect him. But where are the numbers? Show me the numbers. In case you have done so good work, in case you have done roads, in case you have done irrigation, it would have shown in the GDP numbers, Gopalji. GDP numbers are summation of
let me just, okay, that's a fair question. Akash Jindal, that's a fair question. I just want to make one correction to the thing that, one correction to the thing that Akash Jindal said. Akash Jindal, it is our Prime Minister, not just Gopal Agarwal's Prime Minister, the Prime Minister of the whole country. I want to bring in Bejon Mishra. Bejon Mishra, as a citizen and a taxpayer, are any of the answers and the explanations you've heard so far satisfactory?
Thanks. I thought you have forgotten me. You know, all the reasons which was given in terms of supporting the government's move in high taxation on petroleum products have gone hollow. They do not justify the action at all. I am again and again telling the government, when Modi got our mandate, Modi government got our mandate only on one plank, that is development through good governance. Good governance means efficiency, not increasing salaries of babus and not increasing amenities of parliamentarians and the elected executives and wasting taxpayers' money which could be saved. You see, the building of, when he is talking about highways being built, at what cost is this being built? It could be much cheaper than what it is being built today, because lot of money is getting diverted, which is taxpayers' money. You know, a lot of inefficiency is there in the governance, which I am telling you that we all respect the Prime Minister, but the team is not performing. 3 years, the team has not performed. The team is not showing to the country the development which we desired, the employment which we desired, the kind of, lenience, the lesser burden on the consumer in terms of prices. You see, all this inflationary trend which he is trying to tell us, that the inflation is less. It is only because they have not been able to do any developmental work. Nothing is getting invested. No private investment is coming. No government investment is going in the right manner. They're only talking that we are going to do this, we're going to do that, and we need money for this, and they're collecting the money.
All right. But to be fair, Mr. Gopal Agarwal did call out statistics of, he said, Gramin roads that are being built on the village level, that are being built at a certain target. We know that this government has a target of the number of roads that it will build every year. He did say that there are some targets that are being met right now. I have some viewers on the phone line. Shibumi is on the phone line from Mumbai. Shibumi, go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am, what I'd like to say basically is that as a college student, I'm finding this constant rise in price extremely worrisome, because even my train pass, the price keeps rising with each 3 months, even with a student concession. LPG has almost been phased out. Diesel and petrol prices constantly increase. How are we supposed to travel long distances in a city like Mumbai with this constant rise in price? Achhe din aayenge, kab aur kaise? That's my question.
All right, that's a good question. We also have Brinda who's on the phone line. Brinda's on the phone line from Kochi. Go ahead.
Good evening. The question I have to ask the BJP spokesperson is that the government should be working for its own benefits or to provide benefits to the people.
Yes,
may I say
our
this?
objective is...
Right, the government should...
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so let's answer those questions. Gopal Agarwal, if you want to take those 2 questions from our viewers.
Definitely, the benefit of the common man, the backward classes or remote areas, geographical development of remote areas, poor people is what it is at our heart. We are trying to do as much as required, or as much as the resources and the efforts of the government can do within 3 years.
Tangibility
Our
is not
aim is
there.
to create better infrastructure, better living facilities. There are smart cities that we are building. Make in India is there. Then defense
to be an election
expenditure,
speech.
even defense production.
Okay, so Gopal Agarwal, quickly if I may ask you, this question before we run out of time. Swiss bank accounts, there were promises made of the fact that money from the Swiss bank accounts will be brought back into this country and they will run into lakhs of crores of rupees. There was also the accountability of demonetization where we were promised 6 months down the line. You said so on this very show, you said 6 months down the line, give us 6 months, we will tell you how much money has come in, we'll tell you how much collection has been made from demonetization. Why is there no update on either of those things?
No, actually the remonetization or what you say in the liquid currency which has been put into circulation, that figures RBI has already put into the website and they are available. With regard to how much total
the collection.
Collection has not been reported. It is not reported.
Collection, the RBI is reconciling that they have to give the figures. RBI is reconciling those figures. They will come out in their report, and whether in annual report or other things. What basically I want to tell you, you raised an important question of Swiss bank account. The government had initially set up an SIP on the second day of a cabinet meeting
3 years before,
where we have renegotiated our bilateral tax treaties with Mauritius, Cyprus and Singapore, where Hawala transactions were being carried out. Then with America, we have renegotiated exchange of information through FATCA. The asset and wealth transaction expenditure information are being exchanged. With G20, OECD, there are initiatives to exchange information. That's why you see the government has come out with income disclosure schemes. Ultimately, a government has to work through a system. We are putting every effort. Benami Property Act is now in place, which was passed several decades earlier but not implemented. It is our government which has put up Benami Property Act. There are income disclosure schemes. There was demonetization so that all transactions, there is an audit trail of transactions. Government is going out in an overall manner to control corruption, plug leakages.
Right.
You see the,
Okay. All right. Let me just bring in few more voices. Rohit Gupta is on the phone line from Delhi.
Hello.
Rohit Gupta, go ahead.
Yes, please. I have 2 points to make.
Yes.
The first thing is that the government expects the taxpayer to pay for the roads. That is very good for infrastructure. But then why do they expect us to pay toll tax on the same?
Toll.
Hello.
Now the toll tax will go.
Yes.
Why do they expect the taxpayer to pay first to make the roads, then to pay toll tax for using the roads? And the second point is that in GST, the government is coming up with a non-profiteering clause. Will it be applicable to the government also? Because this is profiteering.
No, government doesn't.
Absolutely. Will non-profiteering be applicable to the government? And why is petrol and diesel left out of GST?
The government is profiteering.
Petrol and diesel should be part of GST because you want to be able to make a profit. Rustam is on the phone line from Mumbai. Rustam, go ahead.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Rustam, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think they are justified in increasing the price of the petrol because how can they build all the statues and how can they build the statues?
Build the statues, he said.
Oh, statues.
Right, okay. Sanjay Tiwari is also on the phone line from Lucknow. Sanjay Tiwari, go ahead. Sanjay Tiwari?
Yes. Hello, what I want to ask this Mr. Agarwal, a poor man also pays the same rate tax at the same rate and the rich man also paid the same rate.
No.
You are charging the tax on the petrol. It is the same rate you are charging, one thing. Second thing, all the petrol companies are making a good profit. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, may I have 30 seconds?
Yes, Sujay Kantawala, go ahead.
Yeah, all I want to say is that every day the traffic is increasing, the congestion. So, in fact, we are burning more fuel. Our consumption is increasing on a day-to-day basis. Is there not a way by which our companies and all the powers that be try and explore our entire coastline and our entire length and breadth of country and find out spots by which we can have indigenous oil production and decrease our oil import bill. I mean, I'm just trying to wonder why are we increasing our imports again and again? I'm sure we have got hotspots available here if we can locate them and try and explore our own resources.
Sujay, I really respect the idea. No, fair enough. Sujay, I really respect what you're saying. You're saying we should find our own resources so that we bring down the price that we are paying on our import bill. But the price on our import bill has already come down by 58%. It has made no difference to our retail price of fuel, and that's the entire point of this conversation, that the price on the import bill has come down by nearly 60%. 58% is the drop in the last 4 years, but it's made no difference to us. So even if the picture you are painting, that we discover our own resources, that we create our own fuel resources, if we are not going to pass on that benefit to the guy in Pune and Chennai and Hyderabad and Bangalore and Delhi who rides a motorbike or who rides a two-wheeler and drops his kids to school and then goes to office, if he's not getting the benefit of that lower price, what is the point, Sujay? Even if we discover our own resources, we have to be able to pass on that benefit to the customer.
I agree that Mr. Agarwal has
I asked Mr. Agarwal and he has not answered it. Which is the country where you have such high taxation ratio in comparison with the landed cost of fuel? Could you, sir, please name one country? Again, you have said it takes systems and time to deliver. Mr. Agarwal, with due regards and lot of respect, I mean, to your party, yes, your party is working for the nation. You have already consumed 3 years. 5th year would be the election year. So what you are left with is 11 months. How much more time and how much more system do you need to deliver? Would you please tell me how much more time is required for delivery, because you don't have that much time, which you also very well know. And again, the question I have asked you thrice, sir, which country has that much taxes to the input cost ratio of petrol and diesel? Could you please name one country? And I would say yes, then I'll be ready to pay that much taxes. Would you please answer, sir?
Can I give one fact? When the prices were rising high under the UPA government, they gave subsidy on.
Sir, let's forget the UPA government. Let's forget the UPA government. UPA is not into power. You are into power, sir. Let's forget UPA.
They issued oil bonds without providing them in the budget.
But those got encashed. That is over now.
Forget UPA.
That story is over, Mr. Agarwal.
You are in power.
It is no more valid.
Please answer.
We are importing 70%. Our import bill contains 70% is.
We have to.
We have to look into the price stability of the oil sector also, and it is the
prices are going to reduce, sir. Globally, the consumption has nosedived. Iran has started producing more oil.
There is a glut.
Is producing more oil.
There is a glut. There is a glut in the crude oil market.
We have to wind up this discussion, but it all boils down to simply this. It all boils down to accountability. Gentlemen, please calm down. We're going to continue to have these discussions, because as we have seen over the last year or so, the price of crude has stayed low and we've not received any of those benefits. If it started when the government took over at 115, came down to 26. We should have seen a commensurate decrease in the price of the petrol and the diesel that we buy. Currently, the manner in which the government is manipulating the price of fuel is undemocratic. It goes against the rights to equality. Everybody in this country has to pay for fuel. Everybody. Even if you buy a kilo of tomatoes, you're effectively paying for diesel, because those tomatoes have come to you on a diesel truck. Milk comes to you on a truck. Until the government can find better solutions to raise funds for its work, it must give us accountability. You must give us accountability. If you want us to pay that big fat margin, if you want to profiteer from this situation, give us accountability. Tell us where the money is going. Tell us how much money you collected during demonetization. Tell us how much agricultural irrigation you've actually increased. Tell us how much coal chaining you've actually increased. How many farmers did you save? How many malnourished and starving children did you feed? How many hospital beds have you instituted? These plans that we will create these many more AIIMS hospitals, we will make these many more roads, we will create a wonderful country is not good enough. We want to see it happen. Show us how much you've achieved in the last 4 years. Show us evidence that the money that we are paying as taxes is going towards building the country. Show us evidence. And if you're telling us very confidently that that is in fact what is happening, the evidence shouldn't be so difficult to come by. The citizen needs that evidence. The citizen demands the evidence. It is accountability that we absolutely must have, and we will demand that we have it. Thanks for watching.